Today I'm gonna focus on everything I need to do to get the gray R ready to be towed to the shop. I'm having some second thoughts about this car. I'm considering just taking the engine out. So for now, like, the garage needs to be cleaned out anyway. I have a bunch of engine parts from this car sitting in the garage. I need to just get the parts boxed up and like all the bolts in bags and labeled. I gotta do that either way. But now I'm starting to kind of want to put a stock engine in this car and just sell it right away. That would cost me a few $1,000s more right now. What I could also do is just have the shop give me a refund, potentially. I didn't actually ask them that, but I think they'd be willing to give me a refund if I asked them for one. So that might be an option. I could just use that money to buy a stock engine. I don't know, there's a lot of different routes I could take, but today is basically like a cleanup day. I really just gotta get the garage cleaned up and all my parts labeled and everything. So that part's probably gonna be pretty boring to watch. So I'm gonna go get started on that and I'll give you guys an update a little bit later. Right now the turbo is just kind of hanging right here. It's like connected to the downpipe and being supported by like this bubble wrap. So I probably shouldn't get the car towed like this. So what I'm thinking is I'll put the exhaust manifold on here and then basically just like plop the head right on here, put like 4 of those nuts on, and then get the manifold bolted up to the head just that the turbo is supported. Yo, I legitimately can't stop staring at that blue car. It's so distracting. So I've been packing up some parts. I didn't have all day to work on this because I had to work for my job this morning. Money shifted head right here, the one that I had cleaned, and that's the cam tower. Got the throttle body and the bolts, and I have a bunch of other stuff that's bagged up in the garage, like the injectors and the intake manifold, some other things. Over here I have the head that was just being ran, but basically the cam journals seem to be all messed up on it. So I'm thinking this one's not going to be able to be used. Probably have to use the one that was money shifted, but that one will need new valve guides. I already bought new valve guides, so I'll just give them to the shop and have them install them. So I got that on there pretty firm, but a little bit loose so that I can actually rotate it like that. Next, I will plop that head right on here, since that's the head that was actually being ran, and then mount this manifold right on there so that the turbo is not being supported by bubble wrap while it gets towed. Pretty much the only thing that's holding on the turbo is the lines and the downpipe, but the downpipe doesn't have its own hanger, and the next exhaust hanger is like way down towards like the muffler all the way in the back. Like there's a long like 5-foot section before there's a hanger, so there's not really much supporting the downpipe at all over here. And then I can throw the oil pan back on, since right now there's no oil pan on there. You can still see the exposed crank, so I'll throw that oil pan on. Not gonna put the oil pump assembly back on. I'm not even really gonna put the oil pan on that tightly. Like I'm just gonna kind of lightly bolt it on. Probably won't even worry about the belt housing bolts. I could throw the intercooler piping, the discharge piping from the turbo to the intercooler, just so I can keep those lines clear of debris and shit like that. And then throw everything else in the back. So I was saying that I was going to put my gray Golf R back the way it was, get it back together with the big turbo kit and get the engine rebuilt. But let's just say I get the whole thing rebuilt and I get the turbo kit back on there again and everything is fine with this car. If I then sell it like that with the turbo on here and all the fueling upgrades I've done, the few bits I did on the suspension and the brakes, if I were to sell the car with all of that stuff on it, I could maybe get like low 20s, maybe like 23,000 if I'm lucky, I guess. The car does only have 49,000 miles on it, but I just don't really get the sense that people are willing to spend money on built cars. They would rather buy a stock car that's cheaper and then do the build themselves. And I don't really blame them, because there's a lot that can go wrong, and when you don't know the history of every little part, it's tough to diagnose problems when they come up, and it can be more of a headache going that route than just buying a stock car and doing everything yourself. Even though it's more expensive doing it that way, it can it can have less headaches, so I understand it. I think parting out the car and selling it stock would maybe get me a little bit more money, but that's not even really what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is, if I were to sell the car all like that, I would be selling the complete car, like the project that I worked on, to someone else, and I feel like that would just kind of suck. Look at this thing collecting all this water. I feel like it would just kind of like suck. Then every time you see this car posted online, you're like, damn, that's my car, I did all that. And I have a feeling that's what the previous owner of that car is going to feel like, but I'm also going to be making a lot of changes to that car to make it my own. So I guess over time you'll have that feeling less and less. I know it's probably a shitty feeling, but yeah, I don't really want to do that with this car. So now what I'm leaning towards doing is pulling off all of the aftermarket stuff and putting everything back to stock and just selling the car like that, or trading it in, because I could probably get like $19,000 for it stock, $19,000 or $20,000 stock. I'd be able to sell probably like, I don't know, $1,500 to $2,000 worth of stuff, and then I'd still be able to keep the big turbo kit, which I bought for $5 grand. So if I were to sell that, I'd probably only get like $2,500 for it for the entire kit. But it has like 200 miles on it, so it's effectively brand new. So I would like to be able to keep that and strap that on another FSI car that I get in the future. Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of a waste to sell this turbo kit or sell the car with that turbo kit on it. It just doesn't really sit right with me. I feel like it'd be a big waste of money. Right now I got this car on the battery tender because the battery's like really low. I started pulling a bunch of parts out that I can sell. So here's a roof spoiler that I painted months ago. It was a low quality paint, I think. There's a bunch of like specks in it, and there's some like shiny marks. I don't know if it was the base or the clear, but it didn't come out well at all. It's not shiny either. I'm also selling the PM4 Dutch Parts front splitter, that's brand new. Maxton rear diffuser, that's brand new. Mark 7 carbon fiber wheel. My unibrace. I'm also selling some lightly used engine parts like the Supertech valve springs. Got all them bagged up right here. The VIS freewheel. I'm also going to be selling the FSI to TSI Cam roller conversion, so that you can run the roller cam follower instead of the flat cam follower. And there's probably some other parts that I'm forgetting, but those are the main ones for now. I'm also going to have this extra set of pistons and rods for this car, IE rods and JE pistons, but I'm probably going to keep those again for like a future FSI car. I would probably run the future FSI car with a stock engine for like stock internals with that turbo kit while I can, and then when the rods inevitably break, I would then put the IE connecting rods in probably. So yeah, it'd be nice to have an extra set of internals on hand. Yeah, so I have a few friends who have offered their stock parts. So what I need from them is stock KO4, stock downpipe, stock midpipe, stock intake. I have the stock catback. Oh, stock injectors. Okay, yeah. So my Mabotech injectors are for sale as well now. On my future FSI car, I will probably just upgrade the low pressure fuel pump, get a fuel rail, and go port injection. And this car, I don't want to start pulling apart yet because I can't pull the motor out right here. I'm gonna need to bring it over here onto the concrete. I don't really want to start tearing this engine apart and then have to push the car backwards and like push it over here and do all that business. So yeah, it'd be easier to just hold off for now. What I could do for now is just run a compression test and a leak down test. So I'm considering doing that right now, but mainly because those are pretty easy things to check, and they don't really require much disassembly. Alright, so I'm gonna try scanning the car for codes, just see what it shows. Something I didn't really think of until right now is that the VCDS that I have is microcan, and I believe microcan is only for Golf models, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Well, I won't even try it, I'll just Google it, just see what comes up here. You guys like my background? Looks like I'm too far from the house to even get internet, get Wi-Fi out here. You guys like my steering wheel? I'm pretty sure this is one of those like leather wraps that you can get and then you have to like sew it on yourself. I'm pretty sure. It looks really, really well done though, so I'm actually not sure. I mean, I'm not doubting the previous owner, but this looks pretty damn good. Maybe he had someone do it for him? I don't know. But it does look like a stock wheel with one of those covers sewn on. It is nice. Like I like when the wheel is thicker because the stock wheel is a little bit too thin. That's why those carbon fiber wheels are so nice, because they're like really big and grippy. So yeah, I mean, this one is pretty cool, but I have some other plans for the steering wheel, so I'm probably gonna let this one go. Okay, so actually the micro can is compatible with Mark V Jettas. So that's what this ECU is. It's a 2009 Jetta. Or is that Mark 6? No, I think that's Mark 5. So yeah, Mark 5 Jetta. It's a 2009 ECU. So let's plug this in, see if it works. On my other car, I was having issues with my VCDS, and I didn't know if it was the cable or my laptop, or I didn't really know what was going on. I now have a new laptop, and this is also a different car, so I'm not really sure. See if it works. I keep forgetting that I don't have a USB port in this laptop. I only have USB-C, the really little ones that look like that. It's like the newer style Android looking ones. I do like these ports because you can't get them wrong. Like, it doesn't matter which way you plug them in, so you can't get it backwards like these USBs. But yeah, gonna have to go inside to get an adapter for that. That held us up last week when I tried to help my friend data log doing a water meth data logging, and his Cortex controller had a USB, like one of the big USBs, and we couldn't use it because my laptop didn't have one of those ports. So let me go get the adapter. Dude, open my door for 1 second and there's already mosquitoes going in there. All right, got this little adapter guy. Hopefully the battery to this car doesn't die again, because I can't keep the trickle charger on it. The one bad thing about having the battery in the trunk is that you can't put that trickle charger on it and have all your doors closed at the same time. Whereas I could have my hood popped like it is right now and have the trickle charger on there right now if the battery was still in the engine bay, but it's not that big of a deal. All right, so if this doesn't work, I do have my OBD11 right here. I think that works on like every single car I ever made. Not actually, but I'm sure it works. This guy has just been kind of finicky. I remember having to uninstall VCDS and then reinstall it like every time I use this thing. I really don't know why. It might have honestly just been a problem with my old laptop. I'm trying to plug a USB into an HDMI port. That's what's going on. Okay. Oh, I think this needs to be on. Interface not found. So we're off to a hot start here. Okay, so I'm not sure why it's doing this. Let's take a look at it does not work right now. Guess the the engine needs to be running for that to work. I think I might have to update the cable. Is that even a thing? Like updating the firmware and the cable? I don't know. I'm not a VCDS genius, as you can tell. I don't have much experience with it because once I started getting the hang of it, it broke. And then, you know, like I was saying, like I was trying to explain, it kept requiring me to like erase the program off my computer and then reinstall it over and over. So that'll be a project for another day, trying to get this up and running again. I know you can fix those cables on your own if you know what you're doing. I'm pretty comfortable doing stuff like that, so I might have to take this apart and see which of the wires is having an issue. I'm just trying to do a quick scan here and see if there's any codes that are coming up and what they are, just so I can start some like basic diagnostics on the car, on the engine. Dude, it's so annoying when you can't see the, okay, there it is. Sometimes I'm like fiddling with that for, oh my God, it's not in. Are you in? Is it lighting up? Is it lighting up? Yes, it's lighting up. That is super weird. Look at all that play in this. Something's not right. Anyway, Can never find the OBD. Where are you, OBD? OBD. Holla at your boy. Connexion. OBD en avant. OBD en avant. It's not letting me. Dude, just striking out so far with this damn thing. Dude, it doesn't want to connect. You can't click anything until it shows up in blue. Like this will show up. It'll turn blue all of a sudden, and that's when you can click on it. So if I try to click on it right now, it doesn't do anything, and it's not turning blue. So I don't know what's up, but apparently this thing doesn't want to be scanned. The previous owner is a super cool guy, and he's very willing to help. So I would text him to ask him about what's going on here. But it's a Friday night at 8 o'clock, so I'm not gonna do that. All right, well, I guess I'm not gonna scan it. So that's cool, I guess. So what I would like to do next is do the compression test and the leak down test, but it's 8 o'clock, it's about to get dark. I haven't showed you guys this yet. There's a like cutout in the exhaust that this remote actuates. So let's see. Okay, so let's see if it was open or closed. Okay, I just heard it open. So it was closed before when I drove the car home, which makes sense because the car wasn't very loud at that time. So let's see what it sounds like now. Let's try to start it up. I don't know how bad it's gonna run or what's gonna happen here, but it'd be kind of nice to just hear it, just see if it's misfiring and just listen to it, listen for noises. So yeah, let's try starting it up for a second. The battery might be shot, I don't even really know. The engine actually sounds pretty nice and quiet. It actually is pretty loud. I'm trying to imagine the gray R. The gray R would not be this loud just idling like that. It is misfiring a little bit, it sounds like. Only -5 of vacuum? That doesn't sound right. Let me give it a couple baby revs, see what the misfires are like. Gas. There's a very strong gas odor right now. Fuel. Smells like fuel. It almost it doesn't really like revving right now. If you'll notice, watch it. Like I don't know if it's really gonna come through on video very well, but it just feels like it doesn't want to rev, and maybe you can hear it in the exhaust note. I wasn't behind the car at the time, so I wasn't really able to hear it, but it just sounds like it doesn't want to rev past 2,000. There's also it feels like excessive vibration after 2,000. like there's not a whole lot of noise, like there's not much NVH in here, but after 2000 or like 2500, all of a sudden there's a lot of NVH. I can just feel it like in the pedals, through the floor really. I don't know what that's about. The vacuum too is like, that's a very low vacuum. So on the FSI, normal vacuum's like around -22 or something like that. I think that's inches of mercury, the units. So I don't know what normal is for a 5-cylinder, but I would assume it'd be a little bit more, if anything. Closer to -25 probably. There's a weird noise up here. You guys hear that? Yeah, there's a weird noise up there and I don't know what that's about. There's a bit of a weird noise coming from the engine bay, so shut it down. It's like a whirring that actually got a little bit faster when you, it did get faster when you revved it, a little bit higher pitch when you revved it. So I don't know what that could be, but it didn't seem to happen until the car was warmed up. All right, unfortunately, that's gonna be it for this video. I would do a lot more, but as I've already said multiple times, I want to wait till I can get the blue car over here, and I'm not going to get the gray car towed to the shop until I have all of the parts for them to reassemble it, because it's like an hour and a half away from where I live, and you know, I don't really want to make that drive multiple times. Yeah, I will hopefully get all of the stock parts that I need to get this engine back together by, let's say, like Monday or Tuesday, probably like Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, because I actually might need a couple of them. I might need a couple of them shipped. Hopefully by Wednesday at the latest, I will have this guy towed to the shop, and I'll have most of my parts sold by then, I would hope. So even though there won't be a whole lot of progress being made on this car, in the meantime, I have a lot of work to do on, you know, selling all those parts and buying all the stock parts. Yeah, in the meantime, I can swap over some stuff from this car, maybe like the interior parts. You know, it kind of kills me to be focusing on interior stuff when I have like a big engine issue that I have to deal with. You know, I have bigger fish to fry than swapping over interior pieces, but it is something I can do in the meantime, so I will possibly be doing that. That's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys on Monday. If you guys think I should record a little bit of the Cars and Coffee or the water meth tuning that I do with my buddy tomorrow, then I'll do that. But yeah, see you guys on Monday.